Okay, day 153, the Awan brothers. Let's send this back out to Lee Stranahan, Stranahan. He started this citizens journalism school. So I don't know if it's for money or not, if he's monetizing. I wouldn't be recommending people go to that if it was, because I don't take any advertising or any money of any kind. I recommend people donate to Judicial Watch. But I think he's interesting because he's trying to do something that most journalists don't normally do. I think he moved from Breitbart to this new citizen journalism school, so I think it's interesting. I'd like to also stay with RT and RTK News. I wanted to, in this episode, provide a historical background and how history kind of solves the mystery. First of all, if you understand, this is obviously about Brotherhood's wiretaps and using, IT equipment to spy, basically, getting people top secret access to manage these rat lines. If you use basically just the history of Hillary as an example, going back to Mena Airport, when you are running an operation like that for Ollie North and George Bush, guns going south, drugs going north, you need a whole bunch of things. You need enforcers, like the General Granges. You need, foot soldiers that are moving the material back and forth, the Barry SEALs to fly the material back and forth. And then you need the people that are in the intelligence community to say, hey, the EA is about ready to do a raid, etc. Now the coast is clear. So all those key components are the model that just keeps being reused over and over again. So history in that sense really helps you unlock what's happening today with the Awan brothers, the 4 Awan brother hackers and the 2 Awan wives. It also helps you understand what's happening with the Muslim Brotherhood. The model is when you move from Arkansas, the Mena Airport, and controlling Little Rock, using the Arkansas Development Foundation as your way of cleaning your laundering your money, that is all just moved to Washington, and the port of entry instead of the Mena Airport becomes the Chicago O'Hare Airport, probably Hartsfield in Atlanta, but for O'Hare for sure. And you need a group of people like they had overseeing the operation to give warning to the rat lines. And instead of having the Arkansas convicts running this rat line for you back and forth, being the armed forces, you have the Muslim Brotherhood on a worldwide basis. So this is really just history right now is just really Arkansas writ large 35 years later. It's all the same players as well, which is unusual. It's normally in a model situation you have different people playing the parts, but then in this case they're the same people, making it even easier. So the first one I wanted to talk about was going back to Amjad Awan and BCCI. These are the same people. This is Mark Rich. This is going back to Mena Airport. He's the guy. Amjad Awan set up Iran-Contra as far as the money laundering operation. They basically ran it through Pablo Escobar's money through Noriega and then moved it up to the United States through Mark Rich. That same methodology is being used today for the Pakistan run. This Pakistan run midnight run is over 40 years old. The run through Pakistan through Turkey, and the one through the north route, and the one through the going east. So again, history is a great guide. If you want to look at the 40 years of rat lines, you look at Graham Fuller. He's the one who wrote all the topples from a kind of a elite point of view. He's the Harvard anthropologist in this setup. He's the one who came up with the infiltration plans for Gulen in 140 different countries now. He's the one who said you need to get all the key police figures that run the country, and then you need the judges, and then you need the politicians, and then you need to work your way down. It's a very Harvard top-down kind of approach. You need to infiltrate with the English teachers, and so forth, and then you need to come up with, esoteric, gold for oil plans, and then you have your runners doing that running. And now you've got, fast forward 40 years to today, you've got this Reza Zarab, and you got his brother out there running around trading gold at 30 years old, clearing, I think he said, a ton of gold a day. He was trading a ton of gold a day. So again, this is just a repeat of he's done 3 coups now in Turkey, right? He did all the coups in the stands in Central Asia. So what makes you think, always using running drug lines? $40 billion in Asia. Again, you don't get that by selling falafels. It's all, Engdahl lays it all out in Lost Hegemon. So I met the same English teacher over here, 1 mile away at Concept Schools, that Gulen was using 40 years ago or 39 years ago in Afghanistan. So it's just this repeating pattern. Again, this is the Yale angle. The Yaleys, not being, for some reason, thinking themselves second fiddle to Harvard, always go to the torture. Anytime you see the torture centers, it goes right back to Brickman at the Phoenix program. We need torture centers all around the country. Same idea with the fusion centers in the United States and every state. We need torture centers and interrogation centers in the major cities. That's the same thing. We need a central collection point like Saigon. We're going to have John McCain work at the central collection point for a long time as the last stop on the torture network before they become dog food. Now, you just fast forward with the transplant technology. Now they become heart donors, heart recipients, heart donors. So this is always the signature of the Yale thing, using all of society's institutions to undermine the people at the bottom, not the people at the top. The Harvard is gaining positions of all the people at the top. The Yale methodology is drugs and so forth, undermining all the people at the bottom. So when things happen like this, when you have a news item that doesn't have any perspective, where a mom is held by the 301 brothers at her house at gunpoint, she says they come in and ransack the house after she calls the police, and they all go to Pakistan. It's hard to understand that in its singularity. But if you understand that Muhammad Shah had worked with Amjad Awan on the original rat line 39 years ago, the original heroin rat line, and now he's setting up that rat line in the United States and northern Canada, it becomes much easier to understand. Again, my name is not Imran Awan. I didn't put a Facebook entry with Lorton, Virginia, saying this is my dad, and I'm so proud of him running a rat line for PSP right now in Punjab in Pakistan. If you didn't know DynCorp trained him, and you didn't know DynCorp's past history of running these rat lines, again, DynCorp is a Yale. Even though Pug Winokur is Harvard, DynCorp has that Yale, let's get everything out of the dog but the bark. First it was dog food, and now we've got all the way up to heart donation. Again, here's the radical Islam all over the page, so it jumps out at you. Again, not my reporting, other reporting. So things like this, why is Muhammad Hunsla coming to the Hawks Head drive home in Virginia, in Lorton? Well, all you have to do is look at his background and see that he's been a systems administrator for wireless systems, and that LCC, Lightbridge Communications, is going to be the one doing the hacking into the system for the United States rat lines, giving that information to Hillary and for the Pakistani rat lines when he goes back home. I also like to give innovators great credit, because it's really James Clapper here who changed what they call NEMA. Well, he started NEMA, the Defense Mapping Agency in Springfield, Virginia. This is St. Louis, but they have a huge facility like this in Virginia. Used to be for collecting maps for going at military targets. James Clapper's the one who changed that and turned it into NGA into more going after civilian rat lines, civilian targets, and combining geospatial information with that NSA data. That's really he gets a lot of credit for, the Ron Wyden interview and the NSA interview, but really it's his geospatial expertise. He was originally back in Vietnam in the Air Force with using geospatial information for bombing information. So it's been really his career and his innovation. So that's why things like this wouldn't say, why is it 20 burglaries? Why are the servers, external servers? Why the visas from the White House? Why all this secrecy by all the different members of Congress? It's to protect these rat lines. Arkansas MENA was $100 million a month. This operation is $6 billion a month. It's grown that much. It's a huge amount of money for political operations. Again, it always follows that old British East India Company, those British East India Company routes, and just repeats history. The British agents that used to be along these routes for, the Bengal Lancers are basically now were replaced by Gulen English teachers. Again, you need that top secret, secure, compartmentalized information to protect those rat lines. That's why Jackie Spear asked for it. Go back to these mangoes. Why 18 different emails between Huma and Hillary about mangoes? They had the Indian mangoes that were $3 a mango to come in here in 2004 through Raja Foods. That signaled that should have sent off some flares because mangoes were $1. But now in 2011 they come in with the Pakistani mangoes at $6 a mango. It's obvious. It's the old Hellawell, Lucky Luciano, heroin oranges. Only it's the heroin mangoes. Now this started with the Mexican mangoes and then moved on. That's all I'll cover for right now.